Guys, today we're going to be talking about the Moto G Stylus 2024 versus the Note 20 Ultra. This has been, kind of put out there as a really good alternative to the Note 20 Ultra for those who don't like old flagships. And there's definitely some pros and cons here with these two phones, but I definitely see the similarities here, like these phones both having SD card support, and they're both kind of being priced around the same price point as well too. But the thing about the Moto G Stylus, you can find this brand new for $317. I picked one up, locked to Straight Talk. This one for $200. And the Note, you can find in the used refurbished marketplace. It has come down in price in excellent condition to $319. So definitely, very interesting phones here because they both have, of course, the built-in stylus. So let's go ahead and jump in. So when it comes to hardware, this is where the Note pretty much takes the cake here. It's immediately just feels more premium than the G Stylus, simply because it's a glass and metal phone. It has a little bit more weight to it, and it just feels more premium in the hand for sure. Now, the cool thing about the G Stylus is that the back is textured. Even though it's an all plastic phone, it still, I think, still looks premium for a cheap phone like this. And it feels pretty solid, but yeah, it doesn't feel as premium because it's all plastic, but it still has that premium look to it. For the most part, the Note is definitely a bigger phone. And then what's cool about these Stylus is that they still give you the option for the headphone jack as well too. But hardware wise, SD card support, headphone jack on the Stylus, and then you also do have the built-in pen. Now, important thing to note here is that the Note is also IP68 dust and water resistant. There is no IP rating for the G Stylus, so basically what that means is that if you drop this in a pool or something, it's a good chance that it'll break. This one is a good chance it'll survive. So we gotta touch on the pen here because I think this is a kind of important part with the hardware with these two phones. So what you'll notice on the Note is that the pen has a little button as well too that you could use to take photos and videos if you want to. It's Bluetooth, so that's why I say it's always good for content creators and stuff like that. You don't have a button on the Stylus here. Now both of these phones, they've got certain things that you can do with the pen here. So if you look, you got quite a bit of stuff. A lot of stuff is similar, like the gift maker, freeform crop, the notes, applications, stuff like that. They have a cool handwriting app on the Moto G Stylus as well too. Now, as far as digital artwork, I'm pretty sure the Note is a little bit more accurate as far as the latency goes. So let me just type in Moto. The G Stylus is very accurate though. It's not like it's lagging or slow, but you could definitely feel the difference. It feels just a little bit more instant, in my opinion, on the Note. But they both are really solid feeling. I would say that the pen is a little bit better on the Note because you have that Bluetooth button right here. And then it just feels just a little bit more instant. Let's talk about the display. So the Moto G Stylus has a POLED display. It's 120 Hz, 1200 nits peak brightness at 6.7 inches, 1080p 394 for the PPI. The Note has a 6.9 inch dynamic AMOLED display, 120 Hz HDR10+. It's a 1440p display, 496 for the PPI. But with this display, it can only do 120 Hz at the 1080p resolution. So you can see it's a much bigger display here. There's a couple differences here. So the Note has a boxy, more boxier kind of shape and feel to it in general. And then also it's a curved panel as well too, if you guys can see that. So definitely, something to take into consideration. Color wise, these both look really good. I think the Note is just a little bit more colorful than the Moto G, just looking at it, but overall it's pretty close. So display quality is really good. I would still say the Note has the better display, just considering the fact that we do have HDR10+ on board here, and we can take advantage of 1440p if you wanted to load up some 1440p content. It is going to look better. It is a higher res display. As far as the size goes, it really depends on whether you want something this big, because it is a very big phone. It's not as comfortable to hold, especially for someone with smaller hands. So yeah, it really comes down to that, but I would still give it to the Note on having the better display here for sure. Also, you do have a slightly higher max brightness on the Note with 1500 nits versus the 1200 nits. So I kind of noticed that, like taking photos and stuff like that outdoors. But overall, great displays on both of these phones here. Let's touch on the software. You of course have One UI on here. You have Android 14 with the Moto skin here. And basically, you got the last MajorOS update with the Note with Android 13, One UI 5, and then this phone, it will get Android 15 and 3 years of security patches. The Note is still currently getting security patches for right now, so that's basically the status there with the software. Alright, so let's talk about the specs here a little bit more. So the Note has the Snapdragon 865 chipset on here. We also again have micro SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage, 12 gigs of RAM. And then we also do have on the Moto here, we have the Snapdragon 6 Gen 1. And then we also have again SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. So basically you can see the score difference here. You know, it's a bit of a score difference. The Note is going to perform faster in benchmarks, of course. But as far as smoothness, I think the most impressive thing about this phone this year, the Motorola, is that it's fairly smooth. I haven't really had too many issues with the overall performance in terms of just launching applications and, you know, just doing whatever on this phone. It hasn't really been that laggy. Let's see if it can kind of beat it in some app loading here. Yeah, the Note definitely a little bit faster here. So now as far as gaming performance goes, both these phones do a pretty good job with gaming performance. Now the Note is going to do a slightly better job here because it does have better optimization and it is a stronger chip, so you will be able to play PUBG at 90 frames as opposed to playing at 60 frames on the G Stylus. Now this is for people who are really into games. I would say if you're just a casual gamer, the G Stylus is perfectly fine. You can see, you know, we can play at HDR Extreme. We don't really have any type of performance problems when playing PUBG. Call of Duty Mobile, or, you know, pretty much most games in the Play Store will run fine. But I think games that are a little bit more intense, like Genshin, stuff like that, it will probably run better on the Note 20 Ultra. So if you're more of a gamer, you're probably going with the Note 20 Ultra. Let's see which phone has the best speaker. Both phones have a pretty good speaker. I think I would still go with the Note. It just has an overall cleaner sound to it. Yeah, they're both pretty loud though, so I don't have an issue with that. But definitely the Note is overall the cleaner speaker here. Alright, so let's talk about the cameras here. So the Note 20 Ultra has a 108 megapixel standard. It has a 12 megapixel periscope telephoto with 5 times optical zoom on here. And then you also do have a 12 megapixel ultra wide on here. You also have 50 times hybrid zoom. And then it shoots in 8K 24 with a 10 megapixel selfie. That shoots in 4K 60. The Stylus here, it does have a pretty decent camera setup as well. It's a 50 megapixel standard, 13 megapixel ultra wide, but it only shoots in 1080p 120 fps for the max. And then it has a 32 megapixel selfie with 1080p 60 as well. So check out these side-by-side stills video. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, and lastly, as far as the battery situation goes, the Moto G Stylus definitely has better battery life and better standby time than the Note 20 Ultra for sure. Even if the Note was new, it would still have better battery life. So basically, you have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery on the Stylus with a 30-watt wired charging, and then this phone does have wireless charging, which I think is impressive for a mid-range phone. And then on the Note, you have actually a smaller battery. It's a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, 25-watt charging, wireless and reverse wireless charging on board. But overall, like I said, the battery life is definitely better on the G Stylus. The Note can definitely get you through a day, but this is a phone that you will have to charge, especially if you're doing like gaming and stuff. But if you're a lighter user, you can get through the day with the Note easily. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Which phone would you guys buy? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.